zoomed in on 20 power, shooting at a distance of 200 yards with a 22-250 using a 55 grain VMAX bullet from Fiocchi. Zoomed in on 20 power, distance 200 yards using a 22-250 with a 55 grain Winchester ballistic silver tip. We're out here at 200 yards, zeroing the rifle for a shot on clay with a 22-250, 55 grain VMAX bullet from Fiocchi. After a little bit of fine tuning at 200 yards, that's about where we're at. So if we don't hit the clay where we need to, it's not the rifle's fault. Hello everyone and welcome back. In a recent video, we shot at some blocks of clay at a distance of 200 yards with a 204 Ruger and a 22-250, and we were using those 4 bullets that you see on the left. From left to right, they are the Hornady Superformance 32 grain VMAX, then another Hornady Superformance 40 grain VMAX, both 204 Rugers. Then when we moved into the 22-250, we used the 50 grain VMAX bullet, Hornady Varmint Express, and lastly, we used a 45 grain jacketed hollow point by Winchester. Although the results were impressive that day, it seemed to me that there was some unfinished business out there. Those of you who saw the video probably know exactly what I'm referring to. Those of you who haven't, we'll have a link down below in the comments area so that you can see the video and catch up. So we're just going to pick up right where we left off, and we're going to go ahead and shoot the 2 bullets that are on the right. Now they're both a 22-250. One is a 55 grain VMAX bullet by Fiocchi, and if that doesn't get the job done for us, we have a silver bullet, so to speak. We have a 55 grain Winchester ballistic silver tip. Now if you're a 204 Ruger owner and enthusiast, and you came into the video thinking that you were going to be seeing some 204 Ruger in action, please don't go anywhere just yet. What you're about to see will probably benefit you just as much, if not more, than the 22-250 owner. We'll start by taking a quick look at some numbers, and then we're going to go right out into the field and do some shooting to see how those numbers might translate when we take them off the paper and apply them in the real world. If you like today's video, please remember to click the like button, do subscribe, and turn on the notifications icon if you haven't already done so. And as always, we're looking forward to your comments. Thank you again. The bullet on the left is a 55 grain VMAX bullet, and you can see what's left of it after it's done its work. On the right, with the Winchester ballistic silver tip, you can see what's left of that one after it's done its work. Notice how there is a copper core that remains with the ballistic silver tip. If you're a 204 Ruger owner and enthusiast, you'll be pleased to know that they do make a Winchester ballistic silver tip in 204 Ruger. So whatever performance you see out there today with the 22-250 ballistic silver tip, I would imagine that you would get similar results with the 204. Now I'm not saying identical, I'm saying similar. If this chart looks familiar, it's because you've seen the first 4 columns in the previous video. Nothing has changed. All I've done now is added these 3 columns to represent 2 new bullets that we're going to shoot and one that we'd like to shoot. On the 22-250 55 grain VMAX by Fiocchi, they're advertising 3680 feet per second worth of speed at the muzzle. I'm chronographing them right around 3400 feet per second, so they're down about 7.5% below what their claim is. Normally that would bother me, but for today's purposes, that may not be such a bad thing. Remember, when you slow a bullet down a little bit, when it hits, it's less explosive. And if it's less explosive, it may just punch a little bit deeper. And that might be what we need today. As far as its speed goes, at 200 yards, it will arrive doing about 2635 feet per second on the speed, delivering 848 foot-pounds worth of energy. Then we'll shoot the 22-250 55 grain ballistic silver tip. Manufacturer says 3680 feet per second. My chronograph says they're awfully close to that. I've got those things coming in at 3621 feet per second. So about 1.5% below what their box claim is. I think I can live with that. In terms of 200 yards, it will arrive doing about 2852 feet per second on the speed, delivering 993 foot-pounds of energy. So the bottom line is that it's going to be about 8.2% faster than the VMAX bullet, and it will deliver 17.1% more foot-pounds of energy. In terms of the 204 Ruger 32 grain ballistic silver tip, as soon as I get my hands on some, we're going to chronograph it right away. But in the meantime, I feel pretty good about giving them the benefit of the doubt on their speed numbers based upon how close they are on their 55 grain offering. So in terms of giving them the benefit of the doubt, if they are pretty close to that 4,050 feet per second, that means that they will arrive, or that bullet will arrive doing 2984 feet per second at 200 yards, delivering 633 foot-pounds of energy. How does that compare to what we already saw in the last video with that 204 Ruger Hornady Super Performance? Here's the numbers right here. They're awfully close, but basically the ballistic silver tip would be about 1.9, maybe 2% faster on the speed, and it would deliver about 4.1% more foot-pounds of energy. But the real kicker, though, is that it will have that solid copper or solid alloy core to it for deeper penetration. We'll be shooting at this 10-pound block of clay from a distance of 200 yards with a 22-250 using a 55 grain VMAX bullet from Fiocchi. Walking up right now to the 10-pound block of clay that was just hit at a distance of 200 yards with a 22-250 55 grain VMAX bullet from Fiocchi. Looks like there is some fresh clay on the ground right there, and there, and there. As you may have noticed, the water jug right behind the clay definitely absorbed some damage. Here's the clay itself though, or at least what's left of it. We might be able to find a few bullet fragments in there. It looks like we're finding a pretty good sized bullet fragment right there, or at least what's left of the bullet. Believe it or not, no bullet or bullet fragments went into this water jug from what I've been able to tell so far. Let's open it up. It looks like there's pretty much nothing in there. However, you do see more jacket right there from what's left of the 22-250. So it would appear that 5 extra grains from 50 grains up to 55 grains certainly makes a difference. And of course the next water jug in line, unharmed, not even dirty. We'll be shooting at this block of clay from a distance of 200 yards with a 22-250 using the Winchester 55 grain ballistic silver tip. walking up right now to what's left of the 10-pound block of clay that was just hit at a distance of 200 yards with a 22-250 55 grain Winchester ballistic silver tip. Based upon this little target on the ground there, it would appear that I hit it dead center, or at least close to dead center. As you can see, here is what was lifted into the air and landed on the ground. Large chunk of clay, a little more clay there. And here's the water jug that was behind the clay. It looks like maybe the bullet passed through right there. Not sure where. Yeah, it looks like it entered probably right about there to the water jug. Had some hydrostatic damage. And there's a little core on that bullet that looks like it exited right about there where my thumb is at. I don't think that we'll find that today. But the second water jug behind it is unharmed. Zoomed in on 20 power, shooting at a distance of 200 yards with a 22-250 using a 55 grain BMX bullet from Fiocchi. Zoomed in on 20 power, distance 200 yards, using a 22-250 with a 55 grain Winchester ballistic silver tip.